Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast, sponsored by Prize Picks. My name is Adam Cohn. I am your host. I apologize if it's a little bit of an echo on the mic, or if it sounds a little bit different. Bear with me. I'm got a temporary setup here, but what is happening, everybody? Good to be back with you. I'm back with my buddy Dan Welch, my co-host, my buddy, my pal. Dan, did your statue ever go up in the town square?
Wait, what? Did I go up what?
Listen, several thousand podcasts ago, we were talking about your greatness, and we were expecting a statue. Did it ever go up in the town square?
No, it's still in the backyard, being chiseled out of stone.
Oh boy, how you been, buddy?
Good. I'm very good. I feel like we're doing our first show for the first time. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry, folks, have been away. So we don't typically cover non-tier 1 sites. That's not something we typically do. We cover a lot of the main tier 1 stuff, or for example, like these RMR events that are gonna have tier 1 teams in them, some tier 2, maybe a little bit of tier 3, but so we typically cover just the tier 1 slates. And we're happy to be back with everybody. So we are going to cover the StarLadder CIS RMR event. And as always, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go through it. So rather than going through it on Wikipedia, I'm just going to go. That's our teaser. We're going to talk about Akuma in a little bit. So we're going to talk about the StarLadder CIS RMR event, just very briefly. So we have a very quick event here. It's running from June 27th to July 4th. So it's only a 1-week event. And Dan, this is the second CIS RMR event we've had this year. A lot of points up for grabs heading into the Stockholm Major later this year, the PGL Stockholm Major.
Lots of drama too, by the way.
We'll get there. So let's talk about the prize distribution. Then we're going to talk about an amazing piece of news that I am very, very happy for. All right, so first place gets $40,000. And 2,000 RMR points. Second place, 15,000 and 1875 RMR points. Third is 12,000 with 1750 RMR points. Fourth, 10,000 with 1625 RMR points. And Dan, fifth is where the RMR points end. $7,000 for fifth with 1,500 RMR points. So everyone wants that first place. The more money, the more points. Fifth is where we cut off for the RMR points on this one.
Yep.
So I find this very interesting. Dan, let's go into our 10 teams here that are attending this event. So we have Gambit, Navi, Virtus Pro, Team Spirit, Entropic, Forz, Akuma, K23, Namiga, and 100 PG. There anything that stands out to you here? This seems at the top of the CIS region to me, in terms of teams.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's only 2 black teams, though. Most of them are red, which is kind of frustrating.
Oh, here we go. Basically means Dan's going to do whatever he can to stack 6 people from any of the teams that have black logos.
Spirit and K23.
So he's going to be playing the coach as well. No,
yep.
Totally kidding. All right, so I'm really excited to see what Entropic can do in this tournament. I'm interested to see what Akuma can do. So let's address the Akuma-sized elephant in the room.
Yeah.
There was a scandal involving them in cheating.
I don't know if we can say it's a scandal yet, though. I think it was just allegations.
Allegations, whatever you want to call it.
Maybe that is a scandal. I'm sorry, Adam.
I don't know. No. I scandal, allegations, however it is you want to call it. They've been accused of doing a bad thing.
Yes.
Specifically, Dan and I were talking pre-show, and he knew a little bit more about it. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Akuma allegations?
Oh, from what I've gathered through, I mean, really just HLTV confirmed and Twitter, is that Sergey's was the suspect. That Sensei they feel is legit, and that Sergey's had some kind of a radar hack, or maybe getting some communications from people outside telling him where people were, and that was purely based on his movement and his, I guess, just like response to certain situations.
He knew where the other team was, essentially.
Well, they can't say that for sure, right? I mean,
Right. I mean, that's
in
very
the
tough to accuse. So,
yeah,
th-
circumstantial.
this is what we have to keep in mind from a Counter-Strike standpoint and from a DFS standpoint. Because here at the CS:GO Clutch Podcast, we do both. Right. So we talk some CS:GO and we talk also CS:GO DFS. So from a Counter-Strike standpoint, Valve, I have to assume, is already looking into this. They're not going to want to deal with this. Let's just say Akuma get in the top 5 and accumulate more RMR points. Let's say it locks him in to the major later this year, the PGL Stockholm Major. Do you think Valve's going to want to deal with that crap in their first major in what's going to be 2 years? They're not going to want to deal with that. I would like to think at least Valve is aggressively looking into this so we can have some determination. Now, if Sergey's was the only faulty party, maybe he gets some sort of ban.
Yeah, sure.
I think Sensei is a legitimate player. I think he's a very talented player.
I think he is too.
Is he ever going to get a shot outside of Akuma now?
I don't think that if they find out it was just Sergey's, then yeah, of course he would.
I mean, like, I would like to think he would get a chance on one of these tier 1 teams. Specifically, I think if you put him on a Navi, right? Like, Navi becomes the number 1 team in the world, in my opinion. And that's not to toot Sensei's horn. Navi are they're the number 2 ranked in the CIS region right now. I don't think they're number 2 overall. I might be wrong on that. We can check on that. Let's check our HLTV confirmed rankings. They are the number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
So
shit, I didn't know about G2.
Yeah, look at G2 at number 3. We can get into that another time, but like, if you were to, let's say, for example, replace Perfecto with Sensei, you now have the 1B of operas in the world, arguably the 1A. You've got Electronic. You'd have Sensei, Bit, who started to look really good, and the top 10 IGL and Boomage. That becomes a very dangerous team.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That's besides the point.
But nobody's beating Gambit, Adam.
Gambit are back.
Nobody.
Gambit are back.
They're so good.
Like I said, I really want to see what we see out of Entropic. I'd be interested to see what we see out of Fours. And when we get to our DFS portion here in a little bit, it's Akuma versus Fours as our first game on the slate, which would be really interesting because Dan and I are already going to start off by not agreeing on this game. So, but besides that, Dan, Namiga's interesting. They have Disbalance has been on the team now for a while, and we were looking at the stats earlier. He is the clear, far and away best performing player on Namiga. I think it'll be very interesting to see what they do. 100 PG will be interesting. I wonder if they're a team we're just going to pick on. No disrespect to the Kazakhstan team, but, Smiley is really the only one I'd be interested in seeing how he does. So maybe a little bit of,
Winter isn't horrible either.
Yeah, I mean, he was out when I was going to pull up as Winter. But I think Smiley's who we focus on for DFS purposes. But top 5 only for the RMR points. Group play format. And so if we take a look at the matches real quickly. It starts off here on Sunday. Playoffs are going to start Friday. Continue on to Saturday. And we got our grand final on Sunday. So, folks, we got some 4 gamers here. I think we're going to see some 4-game slates here for DFS purposes, which is going to be awesome.
Jeez.
So, this will be interesting to go and see what happens. But, so, Navi currently getting the bye, if you want to consider it a bye, as well as K23 on the DFS slate. But let's get into a little bit of CSGO news.
Let's do it.
My boy Moses is back as a caster. Sadakist and Moses making both of their returns to casting with some other individuals. We have Vince and Blair, along with Hawker and Dinko. It's Randall's going to be the observer. So your full list of talents The team of Sato, Kist, and Moses, Vincent Blair, Dinko, and Haka. James Banks is your desk host. Thorin and Vendetta are your analysts. This is going to
Thorin.
be very, very interesting to
Oh
see.
man,
Yeah, we got some Thorin, maybe some Thorin hot takes here and some Thorin analytics, and
let's hope so.
yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So we got Vendetta, the Dignitas head coach, will be an analyst as well. So
I feel like
I'm
this is
very
getting this
excited.
tournament's getting a lot of attention because of the last tournament. Maybe that's why
Um,
it's such a star-studded crew.
Moses outschools all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be really cool. Like Moses was one of my favorite casts before he got the Team Liquid head coaching job. So it'll be very cool to
very good.
yeah, be very cool to see him back on the caster's desk. Alrighty. Dan, let's get into our DFS portion here. Really not much to talk about the RMR event here. There is something I do want to talk about before we get to the DFS portion of this podcast. Actually, a couple pieces of news since we've been gone a while. I want to know, Dan, are you ready? Are you ready for this?
LAN?
ESL confirms that IEM Cologne will be a LAN event.
Are we going?
No, because there's no one allowed in the studio. So, I'd love to go to a live event. As much as I've gotten into Counter-Strike and how much I really love the game, I'd love to go to a live event. But so here's how this is going to happen. ESL has confirmed that, and this is the title of this article. ESL confirms that IEM Cologne will be a LAN event. All right, so the piece goes on to talk about that it's going to be the showpiece event will kick off in less than 2 weeks as a studio competition. All right, this was posted yesterday, matter of fact, June 25th. So this is going to be a LAN event. It's the first LAN event since the coronavirus pandemic began, according to the article. So the first LAN event since March of 2020. This is going to be in, I believe, I'm going to say Cologne, Germany, obviously. So it's going to be in studio. There will be no fans. Okay, there is no fans for this event in person. It's a studio event, which means we're not going to have to deal with, bad pings. We're not going to deal with crashes. We're not going to deal with any of that stuff, most likely. So getting into LAN play, and going to give everyone a full heads up. Dan and I got into this when there were only online events in terms of the DFS thing, because that's when major sports shut down here in the US, is when the online events started for Counter-Strike, and Draftkings picked it up, and FanDuel picked it up. So, Dan, you and I haven't had any kind of DFS analysis to do in a LAN environment. There's going to be a learning curve, okay? Because we're going to have players that thrived in LAN environments. Simple. Device come to mind. We already know they're elite, but there are players that have been to LAN events before, okay? Most of this Gambit squad has not been in a Tier 1 LAN event. Most of this Heroic squad, not been in a Tier 1 LAN event. Okay? This will be very interesting to see how these teams do whether they're boot camping or they're at home. It's going to be different in a LAN event. So, ESL also is saying their first in-person event with audience, according to the article, will be IEM Winter, which is going to be held from December 2nd to the 12th in Asia. So, Dan, what do you think? The next event we're covering here on the podcast is going to be a LAN event. I'm excited.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think it should add. I mean, based on what we hear from Tier 1 pros, is that there is a difference between online and LAN. So that we will have some learning to do.
We will. We're going to have we're going to have some learning to do. I think this is where I don't think we can rely on data. we're not going to be able to go and go, hey, what did they do from January of December of 2020, January 2020, and February 2020. I don't think we have that luxury. I I just don't. These teams are
Yeah, the
way
data
different
kind of
now.
goes away.
I mean, like, if you look at just the top 5 over here on the left, Na'Vi are the only team that stand out as they've been there before. And by the way, everyone in that Na'Vi squad, with the exception of Bit, have land experience. Gambit doesn't really outside of Hobbit, at least at a tier 1 level like Gambit's been playing. Most of her work don't. Nico does on G2. Maybe the rest of G2, so Na'Vi have an advantage. G2 have an advantage. Who in the Virtus Pro lineup from this Virtus Pro roster have been at this tier 1 level competing as high as they are? We're going to have to look at things a little bit different, but this is very exciting.
Absolutely.
And then, while we're talking about LAN events, this is another article from Professor back on June 14th. The title of this is called Blast Premier Fall Final to take place as an arena event in Copenhagen. I think we found our first event with the fans. I'm excited. And this event is going to be November 23rd to the 28th, which is right after the major. So we could actually have the major as the first major with fans.
No shit.
Which would be kind of poetic, honestly.
Right.
Fans, come back! By the way, your first event back's a major. So I'm very excited. Like, as much as I've gotten into this,
I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. And this was another big piece of news. Daps has returned to Counter-Strike as the Evil Geniuses head coach.
Yep. No more Zeus.
Nope. No more Zeus. I think this is going to be interesting. I think they're just trying anything. Daps tried his hand at Valorant for a little bit. But coming back to get a coaching job and start his coaching career, I'm happy for him. I'll be interested to see where this goes. Anything else from news-wise, Dan, that you want to go over before we get started in the DFS portion?
No, I think you got it covered there.
Excellent.
I'm happy to move into DFS.
Let's get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, feel free to hit that like button down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button. That way there you all know every single time one of these podcasts drop. I will say I'm taking a look into maybe getting this podcast in an actual podcast format rather than just a YouTube exclusive. Dan and I are talking about that behind the scenes. Just a little... We're pulling back the curtain a little bit, Dan, for the folks. So...
I'd say it's an eventuality. I mean, we're
getting there.
We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
All right, and leave a comment down below, folks. Tell us who you like on this slate, who you don't like. Interact with us. We love hearing from the fans, from all of our fans. Let's see if we can. Let's get 10 to 15 likes on this video. Again, does wonders for the YouTube algorithm and growing this podcast. Alrighty, Dan, let's get into it. 4-game slate, 2 10 o'clock games, 2 12:30 games. First game here, Draftkings on the slate, Fours versus Akuma. Dan, this is where we immediately disagree. I like Akuma over Fours on this slate as large field GPP leverage. Who do you got?
I do not. Well, hold on. So let's reel it back, right? Because I'm going to be doing a single entry, so I'm not necessarily going for that kind of variance where you might be.
You're not looking to outbeat the 1,176 person field, like I am.
Exactly. So I want people that I know, where the team's probably going to win, and that particular person could score well. And if it's a close match, usually I'll go for the underdog. But I think this one actually is pretty close. I just don't like Akuma because of the scandal.
Right, and let's see. That's what I also meant by like an elephant in the room for the DFS purposes. So, I mean,
I can happily despite what I said earlier, I think I would just end up fading this completely.
Also a fair strategy.
And so, but that might give credence to what you want to do, which is play Akuma, which I mean they might be very low owned.
The only one from Akuma that I have any interest in is Sensei until I watch more of this team.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely Sensei. First, I mean for 7,200, like I'm I'm actually having second thoughts right now. That's
He's a
pretty cheap.
fine one-off.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, let's talk a little strategy. It's a 4-game slate. We haven't had many of these to talk about strategy-wise with. Don't. This is a slate on 4 gamers where you go 2-2-2 or 2-2-1-1. There
Yes.
are 40 players. The likelihood of a 3-stack winning a large field GPP is much smaller in this. I'm going to give a total free plug to the esports department. Shout out to the esports department. Go check them out.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's esportsdepartment.com, or if I'm not mistaken, that is the correct website. Clarify that for you all a little bit here. But so I think fours is a fantastic play on the slate. And yes, it's the esportsdepartment.com. Go check them out. Great folks over there. So
Yeah, they're very sharp.
they're great folks, and that's for any esports that they cover. So they
Yeah.
have great stuff going on over there. So free plug for them. Shout out to the esportsdepartment.com. Look, I think fours are very strong. Everyone, with the exception of Almaza, are very strong. Why is Ken say $5,800?
Oh my god. Don't tell anybody.
Shh.
Yeah, keep that one in your back pocket.
We'll keep this a secret here between all of us, the 10,000 billion listeners. Why is Ken say that cheap? Isn't he
I
the
don't
third best
know.
player on this team?
Yeah, he's good. I've captained him multiple times against like other decent teams too. So
I mean,
if you
like,
don't know, now you know.
yeah, I mean, I don't mind Jerry either for large field GPPs at 7,400.
Dude, Jerry was ripping recently.
He was. So you
He
know
was like,
what? Let's go pull up some stats for Jerry. So if we head over here to matches, and folks, if you ever want to do some of your own research on your own, hltv.org. I'm heading over to matches. I'm going to event. I'm pulling up just the CIS RMR one so I could only filter out these events, or this event for these matches. I'm going to go Forza Akuma. I like to open it up in a new tab. So let's head over here to Forza. You can see everyone here. I'm going to the stats tab. All stats are Forza. I explain all this also in detail. If you head over to rotogrinders.com, head over to the esports tab. There's a free video. I do a CSGO DFS 101 tutorial. I walk you through the basics of CSGO. I walk you through how I would do research, pulling it up, how to do all this stuff on HLTV, walk you through some of the basics of the DFS process. Check that out over on rotogrinders.com. Go to the esports tab. It's right there when you pull it up. It is a free video to watch. It's about a half hour long, but I go over a lot of detailed stuff. I think, Dan, you've watched it before, right?
yeah, yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm pulling up online over the last 3 months of play. Forza has played a lot over the last 3 months. 117 maps played.
wow.
Jerry's -6. Almazer's +15. All right. Zordy, who I believe is the opper for Forza, if I'm not mistaken. He's +355. Blitz +299 and Kensei's +99. Let's switch this to just the last month of play.
Oh, okay. It wasn't that crazy. But
Okay.
Jerry is the IGL. Yeah,
Yeah.
Zordy's really crushing. I wish I had.
Almazer. Jeez.
Yeah,
Plus
what's going on? What?
86.
Okay, so Jerry has had some huge maps though. Like
He has. I
huge,
remember he
like
went through an
plus 30.
insane, like, few days worth of, like, he was just popping off. So we head over here to Jerry. Let's
Yeah.
go over here to matches. See if we can find out when this was. If this was a while ago, but he was popping
It
off. I'll go
was
pull back
pre-June,
up
I
3
think.
months. Yeah, I'm going to pull up.
I mean, I'm not crazy, right? Like this.
No, he was popping off. He was +11 versus Big back in April.
Okay, that might have been it.
+9 versus K23, +11,
+11.
+10, even.
Okay.
Yeah, he's had some strong maps. But I'm more interested now in Almeza. Where'd he go?
Yeah, let's take a look.
+86? What?
Wins two too.
1.11 kill to death ratio, a 78 ADR, 0.71 KPR, a 1.11 rating, and impact rating. Well, some of these I think are definitely skewing it. So you have alternate attacks. Namiga, he was +6. Excuse me, K23 +13, Gamer Legion +15. So K23 respectable, Gamer Legion's a tier 3, EC Kiev, I don't even know who they are. LDLC, not too bad. He was what? +9?
Plus,
16 minus
plus
9. He's went nuts there. Versus a Go, who are a really solid team. He did okay.
what's his price?
+18 versus Sinners. Interesting.
Huh.
+12 versus Saw. So the +12 versus Saw is really cool. And that's only over the last month of play. So let's go back here. Al Mazer is $6,400. I don't know if you have to get this cheeky like this on this slate, but Captain Al Mazer is not crazy.
Yeah, that would be a great GBP play, but I would not. I wouldn't.
I also don't advise it for single entry. I don't advise it unless you're like maxing a slate and you want to get like 5 to 10, maybe 15% exposure to Captain Al Mazer. But
yeah.
so
or just flex.
Fours has been on a roll. I actually,
Fours,
I may end up on Fours.
yes.
I just really want to play Sensei. All right, I've been playing him on Prize Picks. He's made me money. I just really want to play Sensei. He's a really good player.
Gotta get rid of the fanboy, Adam. Let it go. Release the fanboy.
Hang on. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna remember the next time he tells me to stop being a fanboy and heroic are on the slate.
Well, with heroic, it's okay because they're just so good. But.
Yep. So speaking of Prize Picks, we have our Prize Picks segment. The CS:GO Clutch podcast is sponsored by Prize Picks. Head over to PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code CLUTCH. That's promo code CLUTCH. And new depositors get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. It's an amazing promo. Take advantage of that. If not, just put us in for the promo code. Helps us out tremendously. We're going to go into our Prize Picks segment here. You can notice I already have it pulled up. We have a very interesting Sensei line and a very interesting Flit line that we will go over later on in the podcast. Alrighty, Dan.
Is that one map? Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
We'll get into that in a little bit. Alright, but let's get into it here. The second game here on the slate is Namiga versus Gambit. In case we couldn't make it clear enough, all 5 of 4s are in play. Right, Dan?
Yeah.
I think Alright, so let's do this. I'm going to rank them first, you rank them after me. Zordy 1, Flit 2, Kensei 3, Almazer 4, Jerry 5. Actually, Jerry 4, Almazer 5.
I would have to agree with you exactly just because of the price.
Mm-hmm. I don't really know if put Almazer 5, but like, just a gut feeling on Jerry for the slate. And I just... Kensei at 3 is a price enforcement as well. He's a good player, should not be 5,800. And Akuma, Sensei, for me, if you want to play some Dem QQ, fine. I'm not going anywhere near the other 3. But Sensei is the one I'm interested in the most, Akuma.
And just for everyone to know that Sergey's recently did not play against Double Pony. And
keep that in mind.
The focus of some allegations. So.
Yep, so keep that in mind. They had 2 stand-ins.
Yep.
So, alrighty, let's get into it. This game should be rather quick. Namiga versus Gambit. Oh, so if you're watching on YouTube, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, all 5 members of Gambit are more expensive than Namiga.
Dude, sure was 11,000.
Yeah. All right. So All right, enough with the
That's a big deal.
sarcasm. Like, really? No, Gambit are the best team in the world. They've looked like they've regained form. I haven't watched much of them lately, but their results kind of speak for themselves.
That might be the highest price I've ever seen.
We've seen, I think, Simple and Zyro, I think, close to being up there. It's been
Yeah.
a while since we've had an 11K player. So,
Well, that
Dan,
makes it more playable for me.
yeah. So this is where people are gonna have to take a stand on for the slate. I think single entry, you put Shiro in your lineup in the flex spot and build around him.
Yeah.
Now, large field GPPs, you can fade him.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah.
What I mean by fading him is like, let's say you want to put like a 1 entry, 2 entries, or a 3 max in a large field GPP, and you want to get immediately different. Like, I'm not playing the cash. I'm playing to win.
Mm-hmm.
If Gambit roll over the Mega, which they probably should, I mean, I'm gonna refresh the page
Hold on.
because the odds went
So,
down. Surprisingly, the money
so
line. Go ahead.
I don't know if you heard the interview of Nafny, but one of their kryptonites is these like tier 2 or tier 3 teams that they don't have. They're not able to prepare for because they do a lot of like crazy things. I think that's how he explained it, but
I
I
gotta
don't
go
know that
back and
Amiga.
watch some of these, like Nafany and Hampus, since one of the recent HLTV ones. But
Oh,
if
you
we,
got to listen to the Nafny one, dude. It's good.
yeah,
He's funny.
um, I did like how when they won their last event, Nafany's on. I think it wasn't Freya, it was Frankie. Frankie was talking to Nafany, and he's like, somehow they were like, "Where's Shiro?" And Nafany's like pointing over here, and Nafany's like, "Shiro, come here." And Shiro wanted nothing to do with the interview. Um,
Poor guy.
well, it was also because of his English. Like we just said, like my English isn't that good, something like that. Frankie was
Yeah.
just like, "Look, we just wanted to congratulate you." But no, it's Shiro being Shiro. So I wonder if like they're not like working on their English or whatever. But Nafany is definitely seems like like a fun interview, something I gotta watch. Dan, we
Yeah.
had some odds change recently since before we started this podcast. So when Dan and I were originally looking at the Pinnacle odds, Gambit were over a 1,200 favorite. I think it was like 1,233. It was something insane. Uh, Dan, they're down to minus 1,108 favorite. I think it's
Some
safe to say they're the biggest favorite on the slate.
yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so some people are probably just taking the randomness of betting on Amiga and 100 PG because Virtus Pro were also over 1,000 prior to the recording of this podcast. So money's moved on to 100 PG a little bit. I mean, those are
Yeah.
great odds, plus 720, plus 643. But it's the Entropic Team Spirit game. More money moved on to Team Spirit. They're a higher favorite now than they were before we recorded the podcast. We're gonna get into that game because I like the entropic side of that game for large field GPPs. We'll get into it. But Gambit minus 1108, Team Spirit a minus 157 favorite, and Virtus Pro minus 963 favorite. I don't see a line for Namiga and not Namiga, Forz and Akuma, which is fine. Matter of fact, I don't even see Akuma on Pinnacle. I don't know why that is. But anyway, not a big deal. Forz should be a favorite against Akuma. Now, again, make a decision. Single entries, large field. You have to figure out what to do with Shiro. I wouldn't fade Shiro entirely in large field GPPs. I'd probably go underweight to the field. 11,000 is going to make things very, very difficult.
Well, it kind of evens out the playing field. So
Yeah. You're going to have to make a decision on Hobbit and Axile. So Hobbit's 9,600, Axile 8,600. I think Axile ends up as chalk just purely because of the $1,000 savings, which to me leaves Hobbit as a great GPP play. Nafany,
Yeah.
7,600 versus Namiga, I think is a little trappy. I think that's a little trappy.
Well, it's putting a lot of kind of putting a lot onto him when you have Axel Hobbit and Shiro fragging out, you know.
Yeah.
So it just requires such a big game from him at
Look,
7,600. In my opinion, in my opinion.
I've played Nafany a ton, right? And you know, some of the slates I've played Nafany, he does terrible. Nafany is the IGL. One thing to understand about IGLs, or for example, someone like me, like when I've played Counter Strike with my team, is I sometimes go and get information, get the info, get some space, try to get a frag, but have someone right behind to do the trade out. Nafany loves to take space. Nafany loves to take map control, he loves to take space, and he loves to get information. Sometimes, and we've seen this how many times with Mr. Aggressive Art? Nafany's not aggressive. He just likes taking map control. And sometimes that backfires because as he gets the information or map control, wherever he is on the map, that can sometimes just lead him to be fragged out first.
Right.
Inter is the support player, I believe, for Gambit. 6,800. Inter is a little too expensive for me. You want to play him in an MME format, I have no problem with that. What are you doing with this game? Just Gambit and move on?
That's a good question. So maybe stay away from. I wouldn't say fade Gambit, but just not to go too crazy, just because of pricing, and you never know. Maybe Nemiga puts up a good fight, which I think they can.
Oh, thank you for pulling that out, because my favorite one-off on the slate that's not Sensei is I Disbalance.
What about Gio?
Alright, so let's actually go and pull them up. So let's get back to the matches. I want to actually pull these games up because if we head over to Namiga, so I Disbalance has now been with this team for a while. Alright, so he's been with them for 74 maps. Over the last 3 months of play, okay, I Disbalance hasn't been there the entire time. Fine. He's played 63 maps with this team. Fox has played 69. We just take a look at stats. Over the last 3 months of play, Lollipop 21k, no surprise, plus 102, everyone else negative. If I just go over the last month of play, I Disbalance is a plus 110 kill to death differential. Lollipop 21k, plus 17. Joe, I don't mind. Joe's good. Stats aren't there right now to support it. I don't mind it for MMEs. I don't want any part of Box or MDS for DFS purposes.
Yeah. Joe is just so cheap. Well, how much is the Lollipop?
Joe's 5,600. Okay, I Disbalance 6,800. Lollipop 21k 6,200. Box 4,800. MDS 4,200.
Yeah, it might not be cheap. Maybe it's not even cheap enough actually. But I don't know.
Like I said, if you're doing a 2-2-1-1, I think I Disbalance makes for a great one. If you're not playing Gambit, don't do runbacks on a 4-game slate, please.
No, I mean if you that could win you the big pot though.
If I Disbalance goes off and Amiga win, you might need someone from the Amiga. I would let me get 9 out of 10 times Gambit wins this game.
Oh, maybe
7 out of 10 times they should win 2-0. You have to factor in variance. Embrace the variance if you're a GPP player. Cash, lock into Gambit, and move on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Gambit should win more times than not. If you're taking the variance side of things, I really like the Namiga side of it. Specifically, I Disbalance, Lollipop 21k. I don't mind the Joe call because he's $5,600.
Yeah, it's just the price.
Yep. All right, Dan, let's get into it. With the first of our third game on the slate and the first of our two 12:30 p.m. games on the East Coast, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, is Virtus Pro versus 100 PG. GG's 100 PG.
Sanji.
Okay.
Sorry, that was
No,
kind
no,
of
no. You're
random.
totally fine. I was gonna say, mate, please tell me Sanji isn't like your favorite play from this game. But I see what you
Oh,
were doing, though.
absolutely.
You were trying to continue that little bit.
I was.
I appreciate. I
GG,
appreciate it. But
100 PG, Sanji.
all right, well, let's get into some interesting pricing here for Virtus Pro. Jame is 9,800. Yakindar 9,000. Kicker is overpriced at 8,000. Buster underpriced at 7,000. Sanji 6,000. Smiley is the only one. Like I said, Smiley and Winter. Really, Smiley. He's the opera for 100 PG, $6,200. What are you doing with this game?
Virtus Pro. Not even gonna touch.
The
That's for single entry. So
two
I'm not
best.
even near.
So again, two best players on this team are over $9,000.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously tough to make it work if I want to play Gambit, but I want to play Sanji. I want to play. I want to play Kicker. And, I mean, Kinder is probably my favorite player of the entire slate. But
Talk to us more about why Yakinder is your favorite player on the entire slate.
well, I think against a weaker team where he's the entry fragger that's supposed to be like like this is the team that's probably the most ripe for him to really to do some wrecking as opposed to getting figured out.
Okay.
So I just think it's a good the pins are set up and Yakinder's gonna go knock them down. So I'm gonna be playing Yakinder for sure.
Look, I mean, we've seen time and time again. Yakindar is the key to VP being an elite team. If Yakindar is knocking people down, there is a good chance he's optimal. Because there's a good chance he's put up 40 plus in 2 maps. So he's definitely someone I have interest in. I like the call. I don't mind Jame on the slate. 9,800. That's tough. Second highest priced player on this slate next to Shiro. Man, that's tough.
If you got the guys front and the front lines killing everybody, then James just isn't not that he's not needed, just he won't have to step up.
Right. So now let's take a look at Kicker's game log here on DraftKings.
Dude, Kicker was crushing it the last couple slates, and I think on Ancient too. He was flopping.
I think he's going to be interesting to watch. 8,000. That's a little much. I'm sorry. Like
it is. Yeah, there's other plays that are better.
We just take a look here. Virtus Pro. And again, well, let's take a look at stats over the last month of play. I'm really interested to see. Who's doing what? So, this is kind of crazy. But over the last month of play, Yakinda has minus 110. He's got a .77 kill to death ratio and a .93 rating. Kicker's +5 at a 1.01 kill to death ratio and a 1.03 rating in 24 maps.
Kicker's minus 110. Yeah, but they've had some. I mean, he's just had some really tough matchups.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly it's been a cakewalk. Vitality, Nip, Team Spirit, OG, Fnatic, Gambit, Akuma, Team Spirit, Entropic, Akuma, Gambit. Like this is. Oh, it was Gambit once.
And now 100 PG. It's like, come on.
Yeah. So like again, I'm fine with that. Let's take this into perspective. Let's take opponent into perspective. Kicker's fine. I'd rather play Buster for $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah.
I know Buster hasn't been great lately, but still, like, give me Buster for $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah, it's probably a better play. That kind of just rolled off my tongue because of my recency bias.
No, you're fine.
I still think Kicker's in play, so I'm just gonna.
Yep.
Maybe not for single entry.
No, for large field GPPs, Kicker's in play, but I wouldn't go more than like 15%.
Yeah, good call.
Because again, just pricing, we want a lot more of the other studs, and Kicker isn't exactly a stud. No offense.
No.
He he
It's
he's
potential. But
right. Well, yeah. I mean, he's not a Shiro. He's not a James. He's not a Yakindar. He's not, all these other elite players on this team. He's not. Anyway. Alrighty. And again, Smiley, the only one that's in play for me on this slate. I don't mind taking a shot on Winter. Iceman's 4,400, but I think Smiley at 6,200. Smiley at 6,200. I wouldn't mind taking a shot on, but not somewhere I'm looking to go. I'll be definitely looking forward to get Virtus Pro exposure.
I mean, the Virtus Pro would literally have to be like, yeah, we're just going to let them win.
Yep.
Which could happen. I mean, and I'm gonna go down a little bit of a rabbit hole right now, and this is based on the interview with Nafany. Is that Nafany does not like that. He doesn't like to play CIS teams because he wants more CIS teams in the major. So there's this element where they let some of these lower teams win just to get RMR points and end up in the major. But that's complete conspiracy theory.
That's complete conspiracy theory. They're not going to sacrifice their standing. They're not going to sacrifice money. They're not going to sacrifice gameplay just to have other people get in there. You want to coach them up, mentor, send a text, put them in a pug on your team, and invite them in and teach them a couple things is one thing. But when you're the number one team in the world, who emerges the number one team during the online era, getting ready to go into your first LAN event for IEM Cologne, you're not giving out charity. You're going out there to win. You're going out there to make a statement. That's my opinion.
So I don't think that Virtus Pro would throw. I think that Gambit would throw.
Oh boy. I think it's a conspiracy theory, and it's exactly what we chalk it up to.
Well, hold on. Let's break it down. So we know that Virtus Pro is going to make it. We know that Spirit's going to make it. We know that Entropic has a really good chance of making it. Gambit, as long as they don't, do what I'm saying, they're going to make it. Then that leaves it between Forza and Akuma.
You also again, teams not on the slate: Navi and K23.
Right. That's a good point. You're right.
So it should be Gambit, Navi, Virtus Pro, Team Spirit, and Entropic. And Entropic is going to be battling Fours. They're going to be battling Namiga. They're going to be battling K23. I mean,
Somebody
I get
would
it.
have to let someone in, and my thinking was that in order to kind of like edge out Akuma.
I mean, I get it. I get it.
Complete conspiracy theory, though. So
yep.
We can move.
Complete conspiracy theory. Let's get on to the most interesting game on this entire slate. And folks, I know we're running a little long, but you know what? 4-game slate, our first podcast back in a while. Definitely happy about being back. Let's get into it. Team Spirit versus Entropic. Entropic are my favorite leverage on the entire slate. Elan, Forrester, Crad, Lackey. All 4 are firmly in play for me for large field GPPs on this slate.
What about Nickelback? 5,000.
I have no desire to play him.
Just because of his name?
I have no desire to play him. Quite frankly, I really, really, really focused around Elan and Forrester. Crad could also absolutely smash, for what it's worth. So
Forrester is legit.
Let's take a look at it again. I'll go to event, go to the StarLadder CS RMR event, and here we go. Entropic versus Team Spirit. We go to the Entropic side. Let's take a look at the stats for these folks. Online over the last month of play, they've played a lot. They've played 63 maps. Okay, so Nickelback is plus 16. I would guess he's the support player for this team. Elan, someone I have massive interest in, is the opera for Entropic. He's someone where we hope this kid would go somewhere. He's so freaking talented. Forrester's plus 125, Crad plus 70, Lackey plus 64. Everyone on this team has a kill-to-death ratio over 1. I'm focused in the order of Elan, Forrester, Crad, Lackey, in that order.
Yeah, that's a good order. I might do Lackey above Crad, but I don't know.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
Forrester was Forster was going to go to Navi, I think. I think he was on their like Navi junior team or something at one
Was he?
point. But yeah, but don't quote me
Interesting.
on that. But yeah, he's legit. He's the real deal.
So, what are you doing with this game?
I'd say anybody. I mean, just
So,
take, if you think,
all 10 for you are in play?
yeah,
I would agree.
100%.
As much as I don't want to take a chance on like a Nickelback or maybe even a Magisk, I don't care they're in play. Large field GPPs, anything greater than like a 3 max, everyone's in play.
This pricing is really good too, except for maybe Chopper might be a little bit low, but
Chopper underpriced at $5,400.
but I mean, fading him isn't. It's not a problem.
I wouldn't
I
fade
just I could.
Chopper. I know he's the IGL for Team Speed. I'm not fading him. I actually really like Chopper.
Yeah, it doesn't create like a big dilemma
Nope.
because of the price. That's like if he was 6,400, maybe it's an easier.
I favor
I don't.
Dexter over Mir, though. How are you playing Dexter versus Mir? Like, if you had to pick one from
Dexter
Team
is
Spirit,
very frustrating. I think I'd have to go with Mir because Dexter is so frustrating because it's like plus 30 or minus 20.
yeah, I mean, like,
Um,
sometimes, like, I've seen some of his Dust 2 matches where it's like, what are you doing?
yeah,
And then sometimes
yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, he's a monster. Like, he's that good. So,
yeah. If you take, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think I was gonna say if you take the stance that Entropic wins, then I don't think Dexter's a good play. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a. I wouldn't run anybody back from either side because it's there's too many other
Four game
players.
slates don't run anybody back from any side. The likelihood of a run back being optimal in a 4 game slate is not there. So anyway, I mean, I like Mir probably overall, but for $1,000 less, I can get Dexter under 8,000. Dexter 1 by price, Mir 2, SDY 3, Chopper 4. I actually really like Chopper. He's 2 underpriced. Magisk 5. But like I said, I'm
I
focused
would
on Mir and Dexter.
I would actually put SDY at the top only because of his price.
Totally fine.
And he's been pretty good lately.
Yeah.
Magic's I like for a one-off maybe if I can't. I don't know. There's got to be somebody else that's a better fit at that price, but I probably would fade Magic. So maybe Magic's number 5.
There you go.
Chopper number 4, and then Mir and Dexter 2 and 3.
Gotcha. All right. Let's wrap this up here with our core value, large field GPP, and favorite team stack segment. Dan, give me one of each on this 4 game slate.
Core, you kinder.
Figure that.
Value?
That makes sense. Next. Give me, you know what
Value.
instead? Give me, give us 2 value, give us 2 large field GPP. Please.
Yeah, sorry, my memory's not.
No, you're fine. Let me scroll down here for you.
Value. I mean, I think I actually got to go with Kenzie for sure. And
Yep,
then,
Kenzie 5800, great call.
I think Chopper would be a great value play.
Excellent.
So,
And large field GPP, who you got? Again, large field GPP specific.
Hobbit.
Yep. And one more?
Hobbit. Kicker.
I like it. Favorite team stack if you have one?
First Pro.
I like it. All right, core play for me on this slate. I don't have one. I think this is a great large field GPP slate.
Pricing is really good.
Yep, I don't think for me there's a core I would want. There's not someone that's just sticking out for me as like this amazing I have to have him in every lineup play, or like go super overweight on and take a stance on. I don't have that. So no core for me. I'll give you an extra GPP play instead. 2 value plays for me. I just balance at 6,800. I love the Kensei call, by the way. I'm also going to go with Kensei 5800, but to go different, Almeza 6400, and I'll give you a bonus at Smiley at 6,200, and I'll duel him as value in large field GPP play. Other GPP plays I really like Hobbit as well, Elan, Sortie, and Forrester. Favorite team stack? I don't have one. If I had to say right now, based on everything in this podcast, fours. It's
Okay.
large field GPP stack, but obviously the chalk is Gambit.
Yeah.
And I can't stress this enough again. Please do not go with the 3 stack on a 4-game slate. The likelihood of a 3 stack paying off is not there. It's much lower, much lower. It can happen, sure. The odds of it is much lower. We want to make sure you all are set up for success. I would advise a 2-2-2 or a 2-2-1-1 with no runbacks. Anything else you'll talk about here on DraftKings before we get into prize picks, Dan?
I am good. I think this is a great slate and a really good opportunity to make some money.
Agreed. All right, let's get into our prize pick segment here. I'm going to refresh the page and make sure we have the best, most up-to-date lines. Dan, there is a lot going on here on prize picks. Give me 3.
Wait, so this has got to... Okay, so map... All right, so map 3... Is this mixed with 3 maps and 2 maps?
So how prize picks has been doing it recently. The first ones are maps 1 and 2. There is a map 3. If they don't play map 3, it counts as a DNP for your lineup. Keep that in mind.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay, so... and then don't they bump you down to, like, if you do a 4 flex and then it's automatically a 3 flex? Is that how it works?
I forget.
I think that's how it works. So that's actually not that bad. It's kind of... Ooh, some tough ones here.
They are. These are really, really good lines.
Yeah. I mean, I think I got to go with Yakinder over.
Okay, Yakinder, 40.5. Maps 1 and 2 over. I like it. What else you got?
I think it seems a little crazy, but oh my god, these are really high. Dexter under.
Yep, that's what I was looking at. Dexter under as well. So we both have one of the same ones.
Okay, and then Forrester. Oh shit, that's only map 3. Is there?
Yep, nope. So this Entropic one, Entropic are playing at least 2 games tomorrow. They're playing Double Pony first, 8 o'clock, before their 12:30 matchup versus Team Spirit.
I'm gonna say, that is tough. Under for Forrester on 39.5.
Versus Double Pony, okay.
Yeah, and I feel bad about that because I just talked him up so much, but I think that's just a tough.
Totally fine. All right, I think Xantaris has been on a roll lately. I go Xantaris over 39.5. I understand that's ballsy. It is Furia, but he's just been on a level right now.
He really has been. I don't know if you watched today at all, but
I did not. But I like just some of the numbers. It just seems like Xantaris is back to elite form.
Yeah, there's some spray transfers on Mirage. I was just like, what the hell? He's so good. So
I'm gonna go over on Smiley at 30.5. That's just ridiculous.
yeah, that's a good.
I'm also going to take a stand, and I'm gonna say Elan over 39.5 frags versus Team Spirit.
Oof. That's a gamble.
That is a gamble. That's why I said I'm taking a stand. It's not an easy call. These are great lines. If you want an interesting one, Lollipop 21K 34.5 versus Gambit. It depends if you, again, what side of that game do you fall on? Do you fall on Namiga being respectable versus Gambit, or Gambit just stomping right through them?
There's some good hedge combinations here too, which is nice. You don't always get. So just
agreed. Also, keep in mind, some of these here, the map 3s, don't lock right away with the rest of the game. So you have time, if you're watching the games, you do have time before these, like, so here's maps 1 and 2, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. These can be moved up, but at 3 o'clock, you know, you can go different here. So like if your Kindar's having a bad game and you think he's going to continue a bad game, play with some of the map 3
Ah,
stuff.
interesting.
So if you want to get some additional action after some of the games have started, keep an eye out.
I like
So,
this. I like that they added.
mhm.
I haven't actually played Prize Picks in a while, so I have
Yeah.
not.
So again,
But
I'm taking a stand and saying Elan over 39.5 frags versus Team Spirit. You have
hmm.
your Kindar for Virtus Pro versus 100 PG over. Axile is an interesting one versus the Amiga. But I think Xantaris versus Furia over 39.5 for sure. Anything else, Dan, you want to go over before we head out of here?
Nope. I'm glad we're back online here, and looking forward to a couple more this week.
Agreed. All right, everybody. Have a great slate. Good luck. And Dan, I'll be back for the next StarLadder CIS RMR main slate. Latest, peoples.